For the board, all for 3 years. Mr. Amoroso received 3,776 votes. Mrs. Spieler received 3,724 votes. Mrs. Lambert received 3,511 votes. Mr. Halcott received 3,410 votes. Mrs. Thoman received 3,234 votes. Mrs. Dumont received 3,152 votes. Mr. Conforti, 1,292 votes, and there were 55 write-ins. With that, we will do the oath of office. I'll come out in the middle, and we'll do this in alphabetical order. So, Mr. Amoroso.
Do you want to, do it?
Is it working or not?
It is working now. Yeah, you want to hold that?
Sure. Welcome back. I, Michael Amoroso, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
I, Michael Amoroso, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help me God.
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help me God.
I, Michael Amoroso, do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of a member of a Board of Education,
I, Michael Amoroso, do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education,
and I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Furthermore, I affirm and declare that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19-4-1, nor am I disqualified due to a conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJSA 18A-12-1.
Furthermore, I affirm and declare that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19:4-1, nor am I disqualified due to a conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJSA 18A:12-1.
Welcome back, Mr. Amoroso.
Thank you.
Mrs. Lambert. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have left that on the floor. Okay.
Okay. Hold it in the middle?
Yep.
Okay.
I, Michelle Lambert, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
I, Michelle Lambert, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will swear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help me God.
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help me God.
I, Michelle Lambert, do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education,
I, Michelle Lambert, do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education,
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Furthermore, I affirm and declare that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19-4-1, nor am I disqualified due to a conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJSA 18A-12-1.
Furthermore, I affirm and declare that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19-4-1, nor am I disqualified due to a conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJSA 18A-12-1.
Welcome back to the Board of Ed, Mrs. Lambert.
Thank you.
Ready? I, Carmelo Spieler, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
I, Carmela Spieler, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help me God.
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the government established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help me God.
I, Carmelo Spieler, do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education.
I, Carmela Spieler, do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by the law for the office of member of the Board of Education,
And that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Furthermore, I affirm and declare that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19-4-1, nor am I disqualified due to a conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJSA 18A-12-1.
Furthermore, I affirm and declare that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19-4-1, nor am I disqualified due to conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJSA 18A-12-1.
Welcome to the Board of Education. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. At this point in time, I will take a roll call for the board. Mr. Amoroso?
Present.
Mrs. Brand? Present. Mrs. Cozzolino?
Here.
Mr. Gargiulo?
Here.
Mrs. Lambert?
Here.
Mrs. O'Sullivan?
Present.
Mrs. Spieler?
Here.
Mrs. Venditoli?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
All right, all are present. We have a quorum. All right, my last task for this evening, before I return to my normal chair, is to hold the office of election for the office of president for the Board of Ed. Just to remind everyone the rules, they're governed by bylaw 152. And what will happen is once I open the floor, you can nominate someone else, you can nominate yourself. You do not require a second for the nomination. Once there are no further nominations and we close the floor, then we will go and we'll take a roll call vote. If there's more than one nomination, we vote in order that people were nominated. Does this make sense? All right. I will open the floor at this time for nominations for office of president for the Board of Ed.
I would like to nominate Michael Amoroso.
All right. Are there any other nominations? All right. Hearing none, I will close the floor and I'll take a roll call vote for Mr. Amoroso for president for the Board of Ed. Mr. Amoroso?
Yes.
Mrs. Brand?
Yes.
Mrs. Cozzolino? Mr. Gargiulo?
Yes.
Mrs. Lambert?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Spieler?
Yes.
Mrs. Venditoli?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Abstain.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
I will move all my stuff now.
Do I need to move?
Not yet.
Where he's sitting?
If you want to.
I got you. Have your seat back, Bob.
Thank you.
Good job, Bob.
Yep.
Switch the name, please.
Best board president ever,
Yeah.
Bob.
Like
You
yours
got
signs
free
now.
pens.
15 minutes of fame.
Can I keep the secret laptop?
Oh yeah, you can have that.
Well, I'll keep that. Okay, I'd like to open the floor for nominations for vice president.
I would like to nominate Michelle Lambert for Vice President.
Okay. Do we have any other nominations for vice president? Seeing none, I'd like to take a roll call.
Mrs. Brand,
Yes.
Mrs. Cozzolino,
Yeah.
Mr. Gargiulo,
Yes.
Mrs. Lambert,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Sullivan,
Yes.
Mrs. Spieler,
Yes.
Mrs. Venditoli,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yeah.
Mr. Amoroso.
Yes.
Congratulations, Mrs. Lambert.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, the next thing is going to be the Board of Education Code of Ethics. I think I will read the Code of Ethics very quickly. It's a good reminder. And then we could make a motion to move, if somebody wants to make a motion to move it, but I'm going to read the Code of Ethics first. A, I will uphold and enforce all laws, state board rules and regulations, and court orders pertaining to schools. Desired changes should be brought about only through legal and ethical procedures. B, I will make decisions in terms of the educational welfare of children and will seek to develop and maintain public schools which meet the individual needs of all children regardless of their ability, race, creed, sex, or social standing. C, I will confine my board action to policymaking, planning, and appraisal, and I will help to frame policies and plans only after the board has consulted those who will be affected by them. D, I will carry out my responsibility not to administer the schools, but together with my fellow board members to see that they are well run. E, I will recognize that authority rests with the Board of Education and will make no personal promises nor take any private action which may compromise the board. F, I will refuse to surrender my independent judgment to special interest or partisan political groups or to use the schools to gain for personal gain or for the gain of friends. G, I will hold confidential all matters pertaining to the schools which, if disclosed, would needlessly injure individuals or the schools. But in all other matters, I will provide accurate information and, in concert with my fellow board members, interpret to the staff the aspirations of the community for its schools. H, I will vote to appoint the best qualified personnel available after consideration of the recommendations of the Chief Administrative Officer. I will support and protect school personnel in proper performance of their duties. And finally, I will refer all complaints to the Chief Administrative Officer and will act on such complaints at public meetings only after failure of an administrative solution. So I read that only to just reinforce our roles and responsibilities for new members and just for all of us, just to refresh ourselves, because we don't often read our Code of Ethics. And I think that it's a good thing to do once a year, just to kind of remind ourselves why we're here and what our duties are. So I guess with that, do we vote on that?
We need
Bob?
a first and a second.
Just a first?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
can
what's
I get a
the-
motion to move it? A second? Okay. You want a roll call on that?
We need a roll call. Mrs.
All right.
Brand, second. Mrs. Brand?
Yes.
Mrs. Coslino?
Yeah.
Mr. Gargiulo?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Spieler? Mrs. Vendatoli?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? Mrs. Lambert?
Yes.
Mr. Amoroso?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. So Bob has sent out the meeting schedule. I went over it. I looked at it with my own personal calendar. I hope all the board members have seen it and looked at it. But I'd like somebody to make a motion to adopt our meeting schedule for 2024.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, board reports and actions. I will read this and then I'll just ask for somebody to move it. The superintendent recommends all board members possess the qualifications required by law and shall be bound by the provisions of the School Ethics Act. 2, the superintendent recommends approval of name stamps for the Board of Education president and superintendent on all checks to vendors, all payroll checks, and all agency accounts for 2024. 3, the superintendent recommends approval of checks generated by the custodial system and with pre-signed signatures of the board president, superintendent, and business administrator board secretary for 2024. 4, the superintendent recommends the appointment of Elena O'Sullivan as the district's representative to the Monmouth Ocean Educational Services Commission for 2024. 5, the superintendent recommends the appointment of Jeff Williams as the district's representative to the Monmouth County School Board Association Legislative Committee for 2024. 6, The superintendent recommends the appointment of Carrie Vendatoli as the district's delegate to the New Jersey School Board's Delegate Assembly for 2024. 7, the superintendent recommends the appointment of Mary Cozzolino as the district's liaison to the Freehold Municipal Alliance to prevent substance abuse for 2024. 8, the superintendent recommends the appointment of Diane Brethauer, assistant superintendent, as the district's school safety specialist. 9, the superintendent recommends approval of the appointment of Robert DeVita, business administrator, as board secretary, as the safety and health designee, as the custodian of records, and as the public agency compliance officer for 2024. 10, the superintendent recommends approval of the appointment of Robert M. DeVita, business administrator, as board secretary for the year 2024. 11, the superintendent recommends approval of the appointment of Allison Williams as assistant board secretary for the year 2024. Further, it is recommended that Robert DeVita, business administrator, be authorized to award contracts on behalf of the Freehold Township Board of Education that are in the aggregate less than 15% of the bid threshold, currently $6,600, without soliciting competitive quotations, and to seek competitive quotations when applicable and practicable, and award contracts on behalf of the Freehold Township Board of Education when contracts in the aggregate exceed 15% of the bid threshold, but are less than the bid threshold of $44,000. So that motion, can I get someone to move that in a second?
So moved. Second.
Do we need a roll call on that one? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Okay, so we got that. I guess I should move number 2, public notice, and number 3, no, just claims, just the claims next?
You can do it however you want.
Okay.
So it's appointment signatories.
So the superintendent recommends approval for the year 2024. The business administrator, board secretary, be designated as the Board of Education's claims auditor with authority as provided by 18A:19-2, amended to direct prepayment of claims for debt service, payroll, fixed charges, and any other claim or demand which would be in the best interest of the board to pay promptly. Can I get a motion in a second?
Second.
In a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Did
Okay.
you skip 2 and 3? Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
we'll
we have
go
your
back.
public notice and the bylaws.
Okay. You want me to read those or just move them?
Whatever you wish to do.
Approval of bylaw.
Bless you.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion for number 2 and number 3, the public notices, I won't read it, and the bylaw policies and regulations as listed in the agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Fees for copies of public documents. I won't read it. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
This one I haven't made copies for anyone in years.
Okay.
It's all electronic now.
This one I'll read. I mean, parliamentary procedures comes up once in a while. The superintendent recommends approval to adopt Robert's Rules of Order 11th edition as the official parliamentary procedure manual to be used to conduct meetings and appoint the board secretary and board attorney to act as the parliamentarians for the year 2024. And occasionally we have people that ask about that. So Bob keeps a copy of the 11th edition.
Yeah. I have a cheat sheet that I will send out to the board tomorrow.
Okay. Thank
It
you.
came from school boards. That
Okay.
they recommend. Here's like the general guide for what you should be following at a board meeting.
Okay. It's rare, but it's
Correct. Yeah, I think when you come as the new board member, that's part of what you're trained in.
but we can keep a physical copy here. Right?
I have the regular book, yes,
Okay.
in my office.
It doesn't come up, but once in a while it does. So can I get a motion to move the parliamentary procedures?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. President's remarks. I would just like to wish everybody a happy new year. It's good to see familiar faces. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season. And I don't know, is the camera running? Oh, it is running. So to everybody tuning in, Happy New Year. I guess on a personal note, I want to say a couple of things. Number one, I want to thank Mrs. Lambert for the past 4 years serving as our board president. I could never fill this seat with what you've done for this board, and I'm honored that you're my vice president to keep me in line. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy that.
Yes, I will. I was going to say, I will enjoy that.
Looking forward to it.
Looking so forward to it.
Okay. And thank you to all the board members that supported me. And I will give you my time and effort this year to try to move the district forward. On that note, I spoke a little bit to Mary earlier, and we were talking about, hey, she asked a fair question, what are your goals for the year? And I would say, I think that this board on this particular event, this night, has to reconcile itself and say, we're going to be obsessed with student achievement. That's what we're going to do this year. We're going to try to keep all of the nonsensical issues that distract our administrators out of the boardroom. So it's going to be my obsession this year to try to keep the board moving and in check in a direction where we're completely focused on advancing our students, not to put the wrenches on our curriculum department. And that's not to say we've done anything wrong or different in the past. It's just the model and the way the country's been going and what we've been seeing in the media, and it's been happening to boards all over New Jersey. I just think that we can set a tone. We can set an example. Other boards could log in and watch our meetings, and they can say, wow, look how Freehold Township does it. They're focused on their students, and that's what's important to get done. So that's going to be my mission, and if I get out of balance, just remind me that that's our mission. And I think if we all do that, and we all don't come into our board meetings with any kind of an agenda, or we come in saying, you know, I want this, or I want that, or someone told me that we need to do this, or I saw this on the news, we have to remember why we're here. We're here to support our administration so that they can get their job done and that our students can advance. That's our number one goal. So let's try to spend 80% of our meeting on that, and then I think we could be successful. So given that, I also want to schedule a retreat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out an email this week. I'm going to propose maybe 3 or 4 days. I'd like to do it this month if possible. So I'm going to propose some dates for our board retreat, and I'll wait and gather some feedback from everyone. And then when we kind of find a date that we think is going to work, we'll set that date, and then we'll come up with an agenda. I'll take some input as to topics that people want to discuss. We'll obviously talk about some important things because we have a lot of, you know, new members on the board over the past few years, and sometimes it's nice just when everyone can get together and talk about some issues and questions you have about the board. So a good part of the retreat, I think, should be spent on board norms and actions and open discussion, and then maybe some other, you know, nut and bolts if we have time to get into some more, you know, abstract issues that go on with the board. So that's going to happen. And then, of course, the committee positions I'm going to think about over the next day or so. Hopefully by the end of the week, I'm going to sit down and look at the current committees and kind of hash out what I think is the best model for this year. And I think it was Renata, yeah, you sent an email, and I kind of explained it's not really just a rotation. We don't really just say, okay, everybody shift and move to the right. It doesn't quite work like that. We kind of look at what is going to happen this year, and, you know, who might be a conflicted board member, who might not be a conflicted board member, and we'll look at who's been serving for how long and who has some experience. And for continuity, I don't like to shake up the committees too much. I want to remove everyone so there's a little bit of continuity, especially in curriculum areas like that. So I will look at that and try to come up with a model, and then I'll just propose it. And we're all adults in the room. I'm hoping that anyone in this room would serve on any committee, and we'll be happy to do it. If anybody has serious issues without serving on a certain committee, send me an email. But I'm going to assume that everyone is happy wherever they get put. But if you really have an issue with something, just let me know, because I am open ears and I'm listening. But I'm going to, you know, kind of look at where people have been and kind of make a decision. Hopefully, I think by Friday I could get that done. I think that's it. Yeah, question.
Well, no, I don't have a question. I know we don't have a new business section tonight, so I wanted to know if I could just mention this, since we're not gonna have a board meeting beforehand.
Absolutely.
Okay, your mic's on. Close this
Oh,
mic.
sorry.
So, we don't have a new business section, but this is happening next week. We're having a parent information session. Mrs. Montgomery is hosting Understanding Your Child's K through 5 Standard-Based Report Cards. Report cards went out right before break, so we wanted to let parents have a chance to see the report cards. You know, if they have any questions, try and understand and read them. And we're going to have the information session for parents next Thursday, January 11th, here in the Board of Ed conference room. So there's going to be an email going out tomorrow for them to register. We're asking them if they have any questions ahead of time that they want to submit, and then Becky can get it into her presentation. But it's basically just going to be how to interpret your child's new report card, so, for K through 5. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. So at this time, I'm going to open the floor to public participation. This is an, oh yes, sure.
Can I just make another announcement?
Of course, yeah.
I just want everybody to know, I saw it on one of the newsletters. On January 19th, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a Barkalow Eisenhower basketball-a-thon. Okay.
So Barkalow Eisenhower girls basketball is Friday the 12th.
Oh, okay, because it looked like it was the same date, both of the games.
No, we had to modify it due to facility issues. So on the 12th, which is next Friday, at Eisenhower, the Eisenhower girls will play Barkalow Eisenhower. And then the boys are scheduled to play at Barkalow on the 19th. Both games held at 3:30, so one on each side of town if you're not doing anything.
So 3:30 on the 12th at Eisenhower for
Girls.
3:30 on the 19th at Barclay.
For boys, and they're crosstown rivals, so it's usually it's nice to, yeah, and if anybody, you know, want to see former students running out there, yeah, it's fun. The cheerleaders are there. It's cute.
Nice. Do we have any other announcements or new business or? Jeff?
Barkalow band concert. To turn back the clock a little bit, got to attend the Barkalow band concert. As always, great job, great concert, well attended, definitely well attended. I was there with Dr. Brethauer, so.
All right, great. Thank you. Okay, then I'm going to open the floor to public participation at this time. This is an opportunity for public participation, and anyone that wishes to address the board, we would ask that you write your name and address on the sign-in sheet and state your name for the record. Statements are limited to 3 minutes and should not be abusive, obscene, or defamatory in nature. And this would be our only opportunity this evening, so on any issue. Do we have any takers? Okay, seeing none, then we are going to move into an executive session. So whereas pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12B, the Board of Education may exclude the public from that portion of a public meeting at which the board discusses any of the matters described at NJSA 10:4-12B1-9. Now, therefore, be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, the Board of Education shall conduct a closed session pursuant to the personnel and legal exceptions prescribed by NJSA 10:4-12 for the purpose of discussing the following matters. Personnel matter. It is anticipated that the length of time of this executive session will be approximately 30 minutes and that action will not be taken in public after the executive session. Be it further resolved that said discussion may be disclosed to the public when reasons for discussing and acting upon it in closed session no longer exist. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of going into executive session say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yep, we're staying here.